Okay, we're coming up to a set of traffic lights to turn right onto the A217. Right hand approach, obviously. Right hand lane turning right. No filter lights, no filter lanes, so we wait in the middle unless there's no oncoming traffic, in which case we could turn. Turning onto the A217, which is a 40-mile-an-hour road. Initially it's a dual carriageway. Further up the road that changes. Lovely sunny day again, so we really have to think about that low sun. Especially once we turn corners, and sometimes we can have that sun directly in our eyes or bouncing off the windscreen. Low winter sun can sometimes be quite hazardous. Even more so if you happen to be driving on country roads where you may be coming in and out of light and dark through trees and things like that. So the initial thing would be to move to the middle, keeping a nice decent position in the middle of the road. And looking for a clear road to then turn right if there's no oncoming vehicles, or waiting in the middle if there is. So lights are green, move to the middle. Looks clear after this one car, so we can make our turn. Road head is clear. Rear view mirror check, update the mirrors. Building speed up. Road head looks clear. Now I'm going to talk you through a right turn we're going to be doing up this road off of a 40-mile-an-hour road. So when we do this, we need to think really early about when we're going to get into this lane. We need to be, on any road you should be checking your mirrors, but even more so on a multiple lane road like this. You want to know what's on your right hand side, because there might be an obstruction ahead of you in the left lane. It could be a slow moving vehicle that you want to overtake. So you really need to be aware of what's happening in that right lane. Is there a vehicle coming up quickly behind you? Have you got time and space to move out? So I want to be turning right shortly. It's not the next junction coming up, it's after the pedestrian crossing we can see ahead. So I'm going to move into the lane now. So it's mirrors and signal and mirrors again before I move out. The lights have just gone to green. Okay, so I'm going to signal quite early for this junction. It's coming up about 100 metres away, and I'm going to give the car behind me plenty of time to see what I'm doing and give them the opportunity to change back into the left lane to go round me, which they've done. So the right turn's coming up very soon. Got my brake lights on nice and early just to let people know what I'm doing. Not a good view here with the sunlight. Checking the road ahead's clear, space there to turn into. And that's that right turn. Now that can sometimes be a little more challenging if you have to wait in that junction, but you must wait for a clear path, no oncoming vehicles or a safe gap. At that time there was nothing coming towards us. We got a signal early, we slowed the vehicle down to give us a chance to have a look at the junction, making sure it was very safe to turn. And the low sun there made that a little bit tricky. It was quite hard to see what was coming down the road there, so we really have to be aware of what's happening. As you come down this road, a little bit more congested, we're coming to the end of the road, we're doing a left turn. We're then going to do another little junction where we're going to do a right turn and a set of traffic lights, which sometimes crops up on the driving test routes. As you know, there's quite a lot of different routes and they vary them from time to time. So there's no sort of set area that we definitely know anyone's going to go. Examiners regularly change the routes that they use. They have to use different routes. They can't use the same route all the time. It's only fair that pupils get different challenges. So we're coming into Cheam village now. As you can see, a bit more congestion, a few shops, more parked cars. So pedestrian crossing, just making sure we don't stop in that keep clear. Mustn't stop in those or block the junctions. Stopping just before the line. Flashing amber, pedestrian crossing means we can go provided the crossing is clear, free of pedestrians. If there's a still pedestrian on the crossing, or flashing amber, you have to wait for them. And even if the lights have gone to green, if there's still a pedestrian there, then clearly you've got to wait for them. Just aware of that car reversing out. Turning left at these traffic lights, we've got a new speed limit for a very short time, 20 mile an hour now, turning left. Now unusually, and this is unusual, the left lane here is a left turn only. Normally you can go ahead in the left hand lane, but at this particular junction it's a left turn only. And it's not particularly well marked, it's only marked up quite late that it's a left turn. So if there's a queue of cars like there are behind me now, and if you was in the back of those queue of cars and you've never been up here before, you probably wouldn't know that this is left turn only. And if you found yourself in the wrong lane and it's not the direction you want to go in, unless you can change lanes safely without causing a problem, you'd continue in the lane you're in and then you would find a way to change where you wanted to go once you've done it. So don't make any sudden lane changes just because you've maybe got in the wrong lane. If you're in the wrong lane, continue where it's telling you to go, then find a way to change your direction further up the road, maybe turn into a side road or something and come back. So we're coming up to a set of traffic lights here. We're going to be doing a right turn at the traffic lights towards the M25. So there's an extra lane here to the right. It is an extra lane for turning right, but it's not actually got a separate set of traffic lights. But it is a lane for that. This is where you position to do your right turn. Two lanes to the left of me, both are going straight ahead or turning, well the left lane will be turning left potentially or going straight ahead, and the centre lane is for going ahead. Quite a busy junction this one. Position will be normal for turning right, we'll go to the far side to allow vehicles to turn right behind us. That's our preferred method. It's generally the safest method unless road markings tell you to do differently, or sometimes position of other vehicles might force you to do a different type of turn. But this is our preferred and we think the safest method to use. So going to the far side. Okay. So usually you'd have only two vehicles waiting in the junction to allow enough room for people to turn behind you. Plenty of oncoming vehicles at the moment, so there's absolutely no chance of me turning. Looking for either a safe gap or for those lights to change. Okay, vehicle stopping, lights are changing, I'm checking that they're not moving, and I'm away. Okay, building speed up, that very low sun again caused a little bit of a problem. 40 mile an hour road now. Checking the road ahead. There is a road on the left hand side, just making sure that car's not going to keep moving. Yeah. Okay, building up to 40 mile an hour, checking the mirrors, what's happening in the lanes next to me. Yeah, it's a little left turn coming up, which sometimes comes up quite quick. So you get a sat nav, or the examiner would tell you by now that you're turning left. It's not too far, so signalling, giving plenty of time for the vehicle behind to see what I'm doing. Slowing down, I've got behind the jogger now on the left hand side. Is he going to cross the road? Is he going to see me? Got his earphones on, probably not going to hear me. So I'm making sure that I see what he's doing. Turn left, coming down the road, and the examiner might well ask you to pull up on the left, get ready to do a manoeuvre, or they might just ask you to pull up and stop on the left and then ask you to move off again. So there's just a couple of junctions, again, sometimes crop up on the test. Good to practice a variety of junctions, lots of different situations, and not to think that any particular junction you're going to use is going to be the route or the junction that's going to crop up on the test, but it's just good practice to know one or two of them and get used to doing different things, different procedures, seeing what other vehicles are going to do and how you can deal with what they're doing, being aware of other vehicles at all times, and also your vulnerable road users, particularly your cyclists and your pedestrians. As we just saw there with the jogger coming up the road, had his headphones on, gave a quick look over his shoulder, but he didn't seem like he was going to stop, so I had to be very aware of him anyway. And obviously at all times we should always drive in a safe manner, protecting other road users.